So hello guys, this is Editing Booth Matt, and today's video is not sponsored by the Sennheiser MKE200. This is the second mic I've had from them that has some sort of internal failure go on, and it doesn't record any sound, and you have it mounted to the camera and you don't realize that it's not recording any sound until you get to the editing booth and realize there's no sound with your footage. So today is a terrible voiceover of the following footage. Well, it's hot and sweaty. I just finished mowing the lawn. I think I'm saying most of these things right now, but it's time for a truck update video 2024. Yeah. So here's the truck in all her glory, all her beauty. Like, this is one of the reasons why I didn't want to re-record this video, is because the truck was just cleaned. It was a beautiful sunset day, and just look at that shot. Like, how can you not appreciate that? But anyways, we'll start at the front here. So yeah, I don't have light covers on the two lights on the bottom of the truck anymore, because a couple weeks ago there was this massive rainfall event where it was like 7 inches of rain over one day, and then a couple days later it was another 5 inches of rain. So all the water, it flooded the backyard. Here's some pictures of that. And it flooded the roads in town. So I was driving back, and the roads were flooded out and all the traffic was driving slow, and I'm like, I'm in a big truck, it's fine. I can just go like flying straight through it at regular speed, and everything was fine. It was a big wake. But then got back to the yard, parked, and realized that one of my light covers was missing. And I actually went back searching for it, and I couldn't find it. So I zoom in on the barn there, because I have 2 other covers, but they need to be painted black because the lights are mounted upside down, and it's kind of awkward looking to have upside down hella on the bottom of the truck. Anyways, the bungee cord on the front grille is to hold up the little license plate flappy dude, so I can have access to the radiator drain plug behind it and get a bucket under there. Because right now this truck is just running on straight water. I have coolant, fresh coolant in the cab. And at some point I was planning on changing it on the road. Like, I have buckets in there to take all the old coolant and change it over, but I just haven't yet. So this video here is basically me explaining what's going on with the truck and why I was in a rental truck for a bit. There is no possible way I can match up my voice with my mouth movements in this video because I have no idea what I'm saying. Anyways, yeah, so a couple videos ago I was doing some local deliveries, and I had mentioned that there's some extra smoke coming out of the stacks upon startup. And last time that happened to the truck, it was the injector cups leaking fuel into the cylinders. So I took it into the shop to get it looked at, basically pull the injectors, look at the cups and the O-rings and everything. And yeah, a couple of the O-rings were split. So got new cups and O-rings, and then sent out the injectors while it was in the shop there. And 5 of the 6 injectors failed. So I got 6 new injectors, put it all together in the truck, button it up, take it down the road, and I did one hard pull with it, like full throttle, just bobtailing, and it started bucking, popping, throwing smoke everywhere, and I basically shut off the truck and it wouldn't start again, and got it towed back to the shop. They opened up the engine, and it turns out that the hold down bolts for the injectors popped off and just dumped fuel into the cylinders. So they put new hold down bolts in, buttoned it all up, did the same thing, took it for a road test, and they had it do the same thing, like pop the injectors off and dump fuel into the cylinders, and they're like, I had no idea what was going on, because it was two different cylinders to do it each time. So it sat there for the weekend trying to figure out if anyone's had this kind of issue before. And basically the Monday, Tuesday after that was trying to figure out how to make it work. Ended up Loctiting the bolts and putting it all back together, torquing it down, let it sit overnight, check the torque again in the morning once the Loctite kind of solidified. Everything was fine, slap it all back together, and it's been running fine since then. Like, it's been a couple months. So yeah, not exactly faith inducing to have a non-specific cat procedure actually do the fix to the proper cat procedure, but it's holding for now. So yeah, we're just gonna go with that, I guess. Oh, this is a cool shot where I have like creaking noises of opening up the hood. Creak. Yeah. Oh, and it's Tori. Hello, Tori. Look at your face, you big silly dog. Anyways, this is going to be looking into the engine. Right. So, this drain plug is not attached to anything, and I couldn't find where it was supposed to be attached. So that's this part of the video. So anyways, I was driving along and empty at the time. I got into a town and I'm like, man, the car in front of me really smells like coolant. And then come up to a stoplight and there's steam coming out from under my hood. I'm like, oh crap, that's me. That smells like coolant. And looked, and one of my coolant lines for the heater core in the cab split and was seeping out coolant, and it was actually spraying it onto the exhaust manifold and exhaust downpipe. And so I'm reaching in there trying to turn off the taps to shut off the heater core and stop the leak. And I kept getting burnt by, one, the piping hot coolant spraying everywhere, and two, the exhaust parts, which are right in front of the shutoff valve. But anyways, I did get it shut off, and I opened up the coolant reservoir to take a look at the coolant and fill it up, and the whole pipe, like the whole downspout in the reservoir, was filled with this black, gooky, messy crap. And that is basically fuel and contaminants and combustion getting into the coolant system. So I'm thinking, oh crap, maybe it's residue from when the injector cups were leaking and the injectors popped out. So change out the coolant, put in just straight water and detergent, run that for a bit, and then I changed that out, and it was still it looked like there was still fuel in the coolant. So right now I'm just running straight water in the engine to see how many contaminants it's actually picking up. And I actually have the coolant that I changed over in buckets out there. I'll show a couple shots of that. But I still need to change out the coolant and put in the fresh stuff. But I want to make sure that it is actually just residual stuff from when the injectors were bad versus actually having another problem in the engine, like a head gasket or something. Yeah, so here's the coolant that I changed out the first time. You can see the fuel sitting on top of the coolant there, all the little combustion nuggets floating away there. That was all in the downspout of the coolant reservoir. And then it's this bucket, I believe, was the first round of detergent, and yeah, you can see that it still has fuel and stuff in it. So the current round that's in the truck is just straight water, and we're gonna see how that turns out later on. So here is the muffler that I had to put on after getting pulled over by MTO saying, "Hey buddy, your truck's too loud." So I still have the straight pipes out the sides, but that's the biggest muffler I could fit in that space. And it's legally binding. So now we're looking at the other side of the engine here. Everything was just freshly greased, new filters. I have the front cover leaking again for some reason. So I need to get a pressure washer and clean that all off. Wow, this truck is getting rusty now. It was four years since the rebuild. That power steering pump down there, it has been leaking since before I owned the truck, and I've changed the lines and O-rings and all sorts of other stuff, and I think it's down to the pump itself is actually like weeping out the seal or something. So until that starts acting up, I'm probably not going to change it, but it's just a little moist down there, I guess. Yeah, so my remote lube lines for the clutch, they've actually worn through on the one airline, so I need to replace those lines at some point. I have them in the barn. Not sure what I'm talking about there. Starter. Okay, I'm not talking about the starter, but I do need to, or I did rewire all those lines again since the winter. They always corrode and do bad stuff. Yeah, here's the engine. Good job. Yeah, it's so-so. No, it's a cat. It's great. Oh, ECM. Something with ECM. I don't remember what I'm talking about here. Okay, so this is the side of the truck. Tori thinks someone's at the door right now in the editing booth, so there might be barking in the background. Yeah, I'm due for a polish. I haven't actually polished anything on this truck in the last 2 years. I also have the lug nut covers that I haven't put on. I have new mud flaps as well. I just haven't got around to changing them. But yeah, this one is starting to crack off again, and it's due for replacement. The other side, on the passenger side, is actually fully missing. So yeah, at some point, it's a low priority job. That's the only thing. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to mention it in the video here, but the elbow on the driver's side there for the exhaust pipe, yeah, I'm not, oh, there's Tori. Yeah, so the elbow on that exhaust pipe is rusting away, and I gotta fix it at some point. Like, change it, I guess. Tori, you're in the shot. Okay, so here I'm talking about the tires. That set, the Salon tires, the Chinese ones. I've just been running Chinese open tread 24-inch tires on the back axles there, because this truck likes to get stuck all the time, and open shoulders helps with that a bit. But those tires on the back there that I'm pointing at, the back axle, they were replaced in 2022, and they like the back axle burns through much faster than the lead axle, the front axle there. I just changed those tires. They're 2024 tires, but the last set was like 2019, I think. Like, it lasted like 4 or 5 years on those tires, so that's pretty good. But I guess, yeah, those are 2022 tires, so they're a year or two, year and a half, 2 years. I forget when I actually changed them in 2022, but there's still some life left in them. I'll probably make it through the winter and then change them out. I do like changing tires before the winter, having brand new tread for the winter, but I don't want to throw out tires that still have life in them. So I had some air lines on the back there with coily, or I replaced them with the coily ones. It was just straight cables in a loop, and I had the loop off the springs on the top there, and it circled around and into the trailer, but it was touching against the back of the cab, so it actually wore through the paint there. And yeah, okay, so here's where I'm addressing that. Yeah, it needs paint. The clear coat is going. The top of the sleeper, that started going bad this year. The top of the hood has been going bad for a couple years, but it just keeps getting worse. It's not getting better. I wonder why. At some point I do need to redo the graphics on it still, because they're crooked and it's peeling off in a couple spots. I guess I'm not addressing that in this video because we're going underneath the truck to look at the frame rails. I'm going to need new frame rails on this truck at some point soon. I guess corrosion and salt builds up on the back of the fifth wheel plate right there, and it eats into the frame rails. It's still structurally fine right now, but it is a concerning area that will have to be addressed. I'm putting in an order for new frame rails by a local guy that does frame rails, and when he does another order, he's going to get a couple for me and we'll get it done. Looking at some airlines, I guess. The torsion bar? No, what is that called? Torque bar? I don't know. Something about the bushings in that. I'm probably talking about the shake that I still have. And the suspension, yeah, this suspension has been changed out. I got new bushings and new springs because the new bushings were sliding in the old springs, so I got new springs and new bushings again. But everything is staying in line. The corner of the spring there was actually eating into the frame bit holder thingy there. Oh, it's a shot of Tory. Yeah. So, they were brand new trailers, but they've been through a winter, year and a half of service now, and I'm starting to get rust on the landing gear being kicked up from the wheels in the back there. Yeah, it kind of sucks. There's not a whole lot you can do to protect the gear and make it look brand new like 20 years down the line, other than like never using it. But this is all, it's my only trailer, so yeah, it's getting used. The side box is doing all right. It's an absolute mess in there. Oh yeah, I had a chain end on one of the straps come off and it was scraping against the side. I need to polish the whole thing. It's a little bit more organized, but still kind of a disaster. The snow fencing is for when I have brick that's double high on the trailer and the brick boards in the back don't cover it all, so I have to wrap, yeah, there's the brick boards in the back and they don't cover the full skid of brick, so I have to have the snow fencing along the bottom to hold everything in place. Here's a picture of it. I'm inserting a picture. So yeah, my ideal goal with this, I actually do have the side boxes. They're in the barn, but I want to put 2 side boxes on the other side of the trailer and wrap up all my straps and keep them in there instead of on the reels and in this side box. I have a few extra straps and stuff in there, but once the straps are out of that box, I have plans for organization. It's going to keep the bungees, maybe tarps, probably not. There's not enough room for that. This bungee organization idea was from a commenter on one of my videos saying that, yeah, you take some ABS piping or PVC pipe, whatever, and you wrap the straps around, or the bungees around the PVC. Well, I tried that and does keep them all separated. It is pretty nice, but it takes a long time to arrange them like that versus just piling them all up together, wrapping a bungee around it, and storing it in a bundle like that. Now, the problem with that under the trailer like that is, one, if the bungee breaks, then all the bungees are gone and they get sucked up underneath the tires and probably get a flat from that. But two, when you're taking them off, all the hooks and stuff kind of jumble together, and it's pretty hard to get the bungees apart from each other. I have yet to use the bungees with this system on a load. That was a recent addition. I just haven't had a tarped load since doing that yet. Oh, and everything in the side box is wet and moldy because there's no drain holes in the bottom, so I need to do that at some point. The Moffett is the biggest herky-jerky pile of junk in the whole thing, but it does the job. I put new lights on it. It's rusty. New tires, though. Not sure what I'm talking about there, but anyways, it's doing pretty good. It gets the job done, even though the rust is getting to it more and more. Oh, that bouncy seat up there. I'm talking about the lights here, but the seat, it's shock absorber cushioned seat, and it was great when it was first new, but now the shock is like stiffened up and it doesn't actually bounce over bumps and stuff, so I need to figure out what's going on with that or just replace the seat again. It's just some crappy Princess Auto seat, so like $100 every couple of years isn't going to be the worst thing in the world for ultimate comfort while riding around on the Moffett. It just seems kind of wasteful that like after a couple of years it stops being bouncy. It's just, I like spending more money on quality products. It's just a matter of finding where the quality products are instead of buying junk and replacing it every couple of years. Oh yeah, so this bump in the catwalk right there was from when I was in a truck stop and I was trying to do a loop, and it was just a little bit too tight of room to do the loop. But I tried anyways, and I thought everything was fine until I looked at the catwalk and I noticed the bump, and then I noticed the reel, like the strap winder, it was at the end there, and it actually ripped the track off the frame of the trailer, so I can't use that first reel position anymore until I get that fixed. Yeah, you can see how it ripped out of the cross member on the trailer there, so that's a job that I still need to get fixed at some point. It's a temporary fix, and therefore it has become a low priority fix. It's higher than the mud flaps, but it's still like I can make do right now, so it's probably going to get tackled in the winter. It is kind of annoying that there's only two of the ratchety things on the front there. I would like a third, but there's nowhere to legally mount it without adding like another cross member or something. Moving on to the back of the trailer here. I just mowed the lawn here, so there's some clippings around. The whole thing needs a polish, even though it's like, yeah, it's a 2023 trailer, but yeah, it needs a polish. Clippings. So the back door here where I store my lumber, the door is actually not straight anymore. It's rubbing on the passenger side, but yeah, that's where I store my broom and lumber blocks. I need to loosen those bolts off on the door and shift it over a bit. When I first noticed it was hitting on the corner there was after doing a load of armor stone, but it was like these giant cubes of armor stone, and it was pretty hard on the trailer. And I thought that the loader actually like shifted the back of the trailer off the frame rails, and because the door is connected to the frame rails but the aluminum surround is separate from that, I thought like the aluminum surround shifted slightly off the frame, and I was checking over and everything was fine, and it's just been an issue that's been slowly working up. So I need to deal with that at some point. But yeah, here's the brick board that I fixed over the winter. Jesus, that paint did not last. But yeah, I have a support underneath it that keeps it sturdy, and I also shortened it so it doesn't, hopefully won't bottom out again and wreck itself, because that's what happened last time. But it's doing its job. It's nice. It's good. The chain ends, the little carabiner hooks, the cheap ones, they end up breaking, and that spring stops springing, and every couple months I have to replace these out. Like that one's due for replacement pretty soon, and it's also pretty hard to get them back on when it gets to that state too, because it's like the spring just seizes up, so you have floppy movement and then nothing, like it's super stiff. There we go. I got some stainless steel ones from Home Depot. I think they're on the other side. They've actually been holding up quite nicely. So I have two more that once I go to replace those ones, they'll be replaced with the stainless steel ones. Right, I got new tires on the trailer. It's 1.5 years old, and I burnt through that axle for tires. I got 4 new tires on the rear axle of the lead trailer, because this triaxle, when you're going around corners, it pivots on the center axle, so the outer 2 axles end up wearing much faster than anything else on the trailer. The rear axle was bad enough. It was down to the wear bars, and so I had to get that replaced. But yeah, it's I went with the cheap Chinese tires because it was 4 times cheaper than Michelin's, and they're just gonna wear out in another 1.5 years. So I don't want to put nice tires on the back there just to have them wear out like every couple of years. The rest of the tires on the trailer, though, I might keep Michelin. I don't know. We'll see how I'm feeling when I need to replace them, because they seem to be lasting nice, and if you get a hole in them, they do slip on and off the rim quite nicely. A lot of tire guys like brand name tires because they're easy to work with. And yeah, this thing with this many axles and tires, it picks up quite a few rocks and stuff, or like nails and screws. I get quite a few flats. The lead axle there, it's getting pretty close to needing replacement, but you can see the center axle, it still has a lot of life left before the wear bars there. The back axles on the pup, they have a lot of life left because they're never really fighting against each other. So here we are onto the Moffett. You can see the new tires and new lights, because something fried in the lights, and I had to basically rewire the entire thing, but now it's nice. I used it for a late night delivery the one time, and it was great having tons of light to be able to see what you're doing. Like, I didn't even realize how dark it was getting because everything I was working on was just lit up with the lights. So it was nice. No idea what I'm actually talking about here. I've got a couple leaks in the cylinders. I'm probably going to pull all the cylinders off over the winter, send them in for rebuilding, and slap it all back together again. Maybe fix some of the rust. I don't know if I'm pointing at the strap or the rust, but the rust needs to be dealt with. Yeah. There's Tori again, chilling under the trailer. Aww. Wow, I got sweaty in that shot. Holy crap. Anyways, it's sunset, and I'm sure I'm saying a lot of important stuff at the end here, but this is the outro of the video, and sun and sweat and crow's eyes, wrinkles and stuff. Yeah, I'm getting old. I'm 32 now, so eat it. Anyways, yeah, that's the end of the video, so I hope it was good enough. Yeah.